Dhamma Talks by Mogok Sayadaw. Part 14. The 28th of February 1959. True Refuge. Note: the following two talks are Mogok Sayadaw's answers to U.P. Win, who was a Christian. In Mogok Sayadaw biography by Sayadaw U. Gozita, he made mistakes about the date and place of the discussion. Actually, it happened in Mandalay at U Chit Sui's home. It seems to me that U.P. Win was U Chit Sui's friend, and both of them were businessmen. Tape 1. Answers to U.P. Win. There are two kinds of faith. Believe in what others have said. Believe in one's own critical analysis. If you believe in what others say and end up believing them, it can be wrong or right. It'll be most true only with critical analysis and one's own experience, here referred to as direct knowledge, N.A. Here, you need the help of a teacher. There are also two kinds of teachers, i.e., wrong and right teachers. You have to make a critical analysis with your own knowledge of what both of them have said. You can take it as true only if it fits with your own direct knowledge. This is the Buddhist faith, and also taught by the Buddha. Not many Buddhists follow this instruction nowadays because there is superstition and blind faith among Buddhists who do not have knowledge about the Pili Nik. Yars. U.P. Win. It's true, Venerable. As you said, it's without one's own knowledge. The God said, "Believe in me without any exception. If you believe in me without any exception, I'll save you." This is spoken by God at the time of Judgment Day leading to heaven. And then Sayadaw explained to him the mind process at near death. There are the last 7 jhana minds at near death. It can be said as 7 active mind moments. The first 5 jhana minds see the destination of rebirth. After the 5 mind moments come, the 6th mind moment arises, and a being dies. When the 6th jhana mind moment arises and no one can help, even the Buddha can't help. After the 6th expired mind and the 7th jhana mind of birth arises. Therefore, there is no intermediate state such as 49 days. The Creator God is like a supernatural doctor and Sambuddha is like a medical doctor. Every disease can't be cured by just saying, "Go away." For example, with mantras, tantra, etc. It can only be cured by using the medicines according to the prescriptions given by the medical doctor. The path of old age, sickness and death is the path of the wrong view. Freedom from aging, sickness and death is the path of the right view. H is the cause of aging, sickness and death. It's free from aging, sickness and death if H dies. These are one's own direct experiences and are not heard from others. This is not the creation of our eternal God. If there is darkness and there is light. In the same way, with aging, sickness and death, there is a place free from them. These are the nature of phenomena, Dhamma nature, i.e., not created by God. Tape 2. Sayadaw gave instructions on the contemplation of mind, sit, nupasan, to U.P. Win. He explained the vipassana process and the 3 universal characteristics to him. U.P. Win. The Buddhist communities know the Buddha Dhamma, i.e., Nib.Na, and can't free themselves from worldly matters, and does it mean they don't believe in the Dhamma? Sayadaw. They know Nib.Na Dhamma exists, but don't know the cause of the Dhamma arriving there. Not knowing the cause of arriving there despite the common knowledge of doing D.Na and S.La and making prayers for it. This is the far cause of it, and they don't know the near cause. They don't know the root of this matter. They don't get a good teacher and are just happy in the world, by sinking in the mud. The teachers whom they rely on lack these qualities. This is a very important remark because most teachers before him only taught the ordinary Dhammas and ended up as ordinary Buddhists. With an understanding of Mogok Dhamma, people become true Buddhists. They only know about Ta, H, which is like fire, but don't know about the coolness of Nib.Na. Note, in the above talk, Sayadaw talked about a leper who was cauterizing his sores near the fire in the Gandia Sutta to Up Win, and he asked this question to him. They know about the fire with distortion as coolness. They have kilesa sores with them and don't know about it or the cause of cure. They have no knowledge of the sores and have no desire to heal them. They know about it from hearsay and have no penetration by themselves. First, you have to cure his disease, and he has no desire to go near the fire. They know about kilesa in accordance with the world, and each person has it. It becomes normal for all. Therefore, they are ending with each other's words. They never heard about the words of someone who had cured it. There are two causes for this matter. Never heard about the cause of cure. Heard about these things and practiced them but did not follow them to the end. Sayadaw, using the Gandia Sutta, explained some dhammas to him. For example, this khandha body is not healthy in many ways. Q. People listening to your talks and responding as yes, venerable, sir. Do they really know about it? Most of them are following with ordinary knowledge. It needs to become direct knowledge. Q. With the extinction of Ta, H, and the reduction of Ta, H. Why are we still enjoying family members and wealth? Sayadaw explained the abandoning of kilesa by stages with the four paths, Magga. Listening repeatedly to Sakka Dhamma, teachings on truth, is like sharpening the knife repeatedly and making it sharper. It makes the mind sharp. Up Win compared his situations to those of like a pig that enjoys itself in the mud. Sayadaw corrected for him as, because of ignorance, moha, the pig is happy, but he enjoys the world, lokia, which he is not able to abandon with knowing. There are differences. Up Win asked other questions and the answers are as follows. Q. Are kilesas extinct not by listening to Dhamma? No, not by listening only, it's still in learning the method or way. It'll happen only by practice. Q. Does it need to stay in a cave or go to the forest for practice? If you can't control your mind, you can do it. But the practice is observing what the khandha body shows you. Q. In the case of seeing Nib.Na, does it need to recite Paritas with D.Na and S.La? These are the supporting factors and it can't arrive there directly. Sayadaw explained to him that he had come to him because of the wholesome merits of D.Na and S.La. In doing D.Na with the sole intention and desire of Nib.Na to end dukkha. In this way it will give the direct result. Dharma Talks by Mogok Sayadaw. The 9th of August 1961. Are you the fool or the wise? Are you the insider or outsider of the Buddha-s Sana? You have to check yourselves. If you are an outsider, then correct yourself when there is still time. First, I'll compare the two knowledges, N, as, of inside and outside S, sanas. These are, Kamasakat, N, A and Sak, Nulomika N, A. Kamasakat, N. A is the knowledge of knowing that doing the wholesome merits of D.Na and S.La will give the good results. This also exists outside the Buddha Dharma and does not lead to truth, Sakka. Sak, Nulomika N. A is knowing the three universal characteristics of the khandhas, and can be known only in the Buddha-s Sana. If you die without doing vipassana, Practice and do not become the insider of the S. Sana. There are many who only end up with the outside S. Sana dharmas, not realizing that lacking the S. Sana knowledge means not knowing the truth. I am urging you to try to realize the inside S. Sana knowledge and not only end up with the outside S. Sana dharmas. Knowing about the impermanence of one's khandhas is sak. Nulomika n. A. It's also right view. Sam. Dai. Hi. You're arriving at the entrance of nib.na. If I have to talk about their differences, the first knowledge, i.e., Kamasakit. N. A. Can't dispel identity view, sakk. Yadai. Hi. Without the wrong view falling away, and even though it leads to a good destination when its power is finished, i.e., wholesome kama, one can fall down to painful existence, ap, ya. Inside the S. Sana task is the working of the right view. Sayadaw explained the 12 inversions, Vipul.sas. This talk is the 5th talk on the 12 Vipul.sas. Someone who consorts with the Dhamma that shouldn't be consorted with is a fool, B.la. Practice of discerning anicca is consorting with the wise, i.e., right view. To live and die with 12 inversions is the death of a fool. In the world there are more corpses of fools. You have to struggle to get out from these groups. After death, a body that becomes putrid is the corpse of a fool. A corpse that becomes chemical relics, i.e., dh. 2 sa.ras, is considered that of a wise man. There are a number of prominent monk scholars and meditation teachers in Burma who reject the idea that an arahant can have a ra like the Buddha. They lack the knowledge and experience about relics. The relics of Thai forest monks Ajahn Sao and Ajahn Mun are of excellent quality. It seems to me that arahant relics are related to jh.na attainments and wisdom. Reciting the Gala Sutta is not for protection from dangers, but for practice, to develop the mind and realizing of nib.na. The inner enemies are more frightening than the outer enemies, i.e., Dai, Hai and Ta, H, or Kalesa enemies. Protection from the outer enemies is still possible. The inner enemies exist as latent defilements, anusaya kalesas. The inner dangers, the 4 dangers of painful existences, are more frightful. Not knowing oneself as a fool is the worst thing in the world. For an insider of the S. Sana to become a fool represents the greatest loss. I'll talk about a sutta in the SA. Yatana SA. Yuta. A monk requested the Buddha to teach him how to dispel sakk. Yadai. Hi. If you discern anicca and sakk, yadai, Hai will fall away. If you contemplate the mind and discern its anicca or feeling and its anicca, maybe you may think why it's so quick for sakk. Yadai. Hai falls away by discerning anicca. You have never discerned it before. It's neither a waste of money nor tiring. You have to contemplate it only with sati and pan. Hedonism, Eastern or Western, creates a lot of human problems, i.e., many kinds are just for momentary pleasure. Some of that was exhausting and a lot of suffering. Dharma happiness is the only solution for solving human problems and sufferings. You all are afraid of becoming hell beings, animals, and hungry shades. Don't be afraid. Instead, fear the seeds of hell, i.e., sakk, yadai, Hai. Contemplating the mind is not difficult. It's important to accompany it with sati and pan. When it arises, the person with the path factors means he is alive with the path-factored consciousness, i.e., vipassana. Magga. It dispels Dai, Hai Kalesa. It's important to be alive with the path-facted consciousness. In this way there is no seed of hell in your heart. This is falling away by contemplation. Bh. Vetaba. If no contemplation, it'll exist as a latent tendency, anusaya. Therefore, it has to be fallen away by abandonment. Following anicca until it become disenchantment, and ending of it will abandon die. Haikalesa. Dhamma Talks by Mogok Sayadaw. 14th and the 15th of August 1961. Extinguish the Hell Fire. Based on the Dog Duty Ascetic Discourse in Majjhima Nik. Ya, Sutta number 57. Tape 1. Listening to Dharma talks can lead to good destinations for humans and heavenly beings. Practicing the Dharma frees one from the 3 rounds of defilement, action, and existence, i.e., 3VA. You have to watch and observe the khandhas. There are itches, pains, and aches. It will show you many phenomena. This is the khandha telling you the nature of anicca. You continue to observe them. The khandha never tells you a good thing. It only has bad things and tells you only about that. It's telling you about weariness, disenchantment and disgust. Continue to observe them, saying, "Tell me as much as you can." You find out the things that are not desirable. It'll tell you all the things you don't like. If the true knowledge of real, unwantedness, arises, khandha will disappear. Khandha is the truth of dukkha, that dukkha disappears. At this place dukkha disappears and only happiness will arise. Let the knowledge, N.A., be fixed there, and do not go in search of impermanence, anicca. If one abandons die, hellfire and the furnace of hell disappear. If this did not happen and all these things, i.e., hellfire and hell cauldron, are waiting for you. Sayadaw continued to talk about the practice in gist. There are 4 nib.nas. In regard to the first nib.na, related to the 5 khandhas, you have the 2 kinds of not clear about them, not knowing anything about it, although knowing the Dharma and without the practice. Viewing one's khandha as me, and family members as mine. None of them is right. You are looking at them with the eyes of the wrong view. These are wrong view of self, atta die, with its existence, the doors to 4 painful existences, ap.yas, are opened or not closed. Me, I, is atta, and mine, referring to family members, is atanya. It's clear that ta, h, cannot send one to ap, ya bh, me, only wrong views can do it. This was made evident by the female boss vis.kh. When seeing something, the 3 dharmas of knowing, consciousness, seeing, contact and feeling arise. These lead to craving, clinging and action. Beings come to the human world for collecting kamas to ap.yas. Vin. A plus fasa plus veden. Right pointing arrow tar. H. Right pointing arrow up.d.na. Right pointing arrow kama. Right pointing arrow ap. Ya J. T. Everyone not practicing vipassana comes here only to collect kama, mostly unwholesome ones. If there are no teachers giving the methods or ways, then come here only collecting kamas, nearly the whole world population. Only just a few Buddhists do the practice. It means prolonging the duration of ya existences. We have or must have burnt up all these kamas with fire because they are enemies. If they are ahead of you, it becomes great trouble. Even though it ceases and disappears, its power is leaving behind, in the mind processes carrying with it in the continuing S.Rik journey. So we must do the work or practice of cutting off kamas. Sayadaw talked about the dog duty ascetic discourse. You just observe with N.A. what the khandha is telling about it. It's not tiring and is free from the two extremes, i.e., hedonism and asceticism. Because of the wrong views and wrong practices fall down to apdotyas, hells. With wrong practices become dog, etc. Here referred to Senya, the dog-duty ascetic. Explained the 4 types of kama. Tape 2. The 10 unwholesome dharmas, akusala dharma, are described as black or dark actions. The 10 wholesome actions are described as white dharmas, black and white mixed actions, with the king of hell. Yama, being in this group, and the action to cut off either black, white, or mixed actions, is nibb, na. Developing the path factors is easy if you discern the signs of anicca. At the end of the signs of anicca, anicca laka, nib.na exists. Sana Dharma, i.e., Buddha Dharma, is very rare and difficult to encounter. He mentions some men during the time of the Buddha, such as his 2 jh.na teachers, father-in-law, Pasenadi, king of Kosala. They met the great being but not enlightened. So don't waste your time. Try hard. Incline your own knowledge, towards the objects of anicca. Don't waste your time with talking. Here Sayadaw admonished his disciples to come to the Dhamma sl. For practice only, not for worldly affairs. You have to stay with it as Dharma objects, Dharma, Rama.as. Everyone has 3 types of debt, i.e., black, white and mixed kamas. He showed them how to stop kamas with the dependent arising of the khandha. For example, seeing consciousness, right pointing arrow, feeling right pointing arrow, craving, right pointing arrow, clinging, right pointing arrow, action. You can enter the vipassana knowledge at any of the above 5 factors. If you can contemplate to discern anicca, then kama can't lead to birth, jt. If you miss anicca at seeing consciousness, then contemplate feeling. If you miss it, then craving, then clinging and then kama. Here not refer to verbal and physical actions but the mental factor of volition setan. This process is detailed in the Satipa, h.na. If it becomes verbal, physical action will lead to j.t. Before the Sayadaw's talks I never knew someone who talked about this point. Mostly talk about cut-off da. But between Vedan and ta. Sayadaw U. Kandima's teachings of bhava.ga meditation mentioned between ta. And kama. See my translation of right sam.d and insight. Dharma Talks by Mogok Sayadaw. 22nd to the 23rd of August 1961. A Fire Ghost. Tape 1. The Buddha is like a doctor and you all are patients with kilesa diseases. He will prescribe you the medicines and how to abstain from the diseases. S.la means abstinence. It'll alleviate the kilesa and not cure the diseases. Only by taking the medicine of vipassana can the disease be cured. If you can contemplate the anicca of any arising phenomenon and ta. Up.d.na and kama can't arise. Because of the medicine of vipassana, magga kilesa dies away. S.la is included in the vipassana maggas. Therefore, at the time of vipassana, is staying practice with special S.la, visasav, Iya S.la. King Milinda asked the monk Ngasena on nib.na, could a worldling know about nib.na? It can be understood with speculation. When the hermit Sumedha made the aspiration to become a Buddha, he made the speculation as if there is heat then there is coolness. It's the same with you. Every time you burn with kilesa heat, the extinction of this heat of defilements is nib.na. Could you know about it by speculation or guessing? This kind of guessing does not become the wrong view of annihilation. You don't know the khandha and nib.na if do not understand dependent arising, pa, ic kasamup, da. By not understanding the arising of the khandha, you view it as a person, a being, etc. Not knowing the cessation of the arising khandha means one will not know about nib.na. Therefore, without understanding da, one will not know and not attain nib.na. Knowing the arising of da is knowing about the khandha, and its cessation is knowing nib.na. I myself do not dare to teach away from the path of dependent origination, because deviating from da becomes unreal Dhamma. Then, it becomes superficial teaching. It's possible to be free from identity view, permanent view, and annihilated view by discerning that one Dhamma arises and one Dhamma ceases. This is knowing the nature of emptiness, sunnata. If not, can't know it. Some Chinese Buddhists heard about the sunnata in the Theravada teaching and take it as Mahayana teaching. They don't know that there are differences. There are some teachings also the same, such as Bodhisattva and Bodhisattva, etc. Identity view does not fall away without listening to the sunnata Dhamma. Even when practiced, without getting rid of the identity view, sakk, it still hinders development. Is this the impermanence of me and mine? It's seeing sunnata if you discern anicca. Asking you to contemplate anicca is to let you know clearly there are no me and no mine in the khandha. If discerning the processes of da is knowing the truth of dukkha, dukkha sakka. The knowledge is the truth of the path, magga sakka. At the time of knowing action not to arise is the cessation of the cause of dukkha, samadaya sakka. The cessation of the khandha is nirodha sakka, the cessation of dukkha. So you know the four truths. This is based on da teaching, i.e., without it, it's impossible. The Buddha, using the simile of a fire, explained nib.na to the Brahman Agavaka, mn. 72. The khandha is always burning with the fire of defilements and aging. People become fire ghosts, Peters. They have to always condition the khandhas. When it's cold, make it warm, put heat, and vice versa. Making prayers and asking for things are firewoods, fuels, i.e., making merits for fire. The khandha is fuel, kilesa is fire, and kama is the one who sets fire. You all take kama as kam mother and kam father, i.e., rely on wholesome kamas or merits. Here kam is the Burmese word for kama. Kama puts fire continuously without break. If you can't make it, ceases and wandering in rounds of existence, ra, as fire ghosts. Tape 2. The reason in this life you don't understand da is starting from the not knowing about the khandha. After you lost the da process and you can't find anicca, you live with ignorance, avidya, and accompany with hi. Without cutting off the da process, birth, t, becomes your friend. Ignorance and wrong views will die if you know the arising dharmas. And then birth and death cease and nib.na arises. Understanding of the da process will understand dukkha and its cessation. If you know the arising phenomena and know the truth of dukkha, you know the passing away is knowing the cessation of dukkha, i.e., knowing nirodha sakka. Therefore, if you contemplate blindly, you won't know dukkha and do not understand nib.na. In vipassana contemplation, you can contemplate all the arising dharmas or khandhas up to h. Right pointing arrow up.de.na right pointing arrow kama. Here, it does not refer to verbal and physical actions, but to volition, cetan. For its evidence Sayadaw recited the Pali words in a sutta. It'll burn you all the time if the khandha and kilesa are together, as if the fuels and fire are together. Therefore, the khandha is a burning khandha. Men with bh.vatar h are looking for woods, fuels. The cessation of kilesa fire and khandha fire is nib.na. You can't ask where the cessation of fuel and fire burning has gone. It seems a foolish question. It can be only answered as the fire is extinguished. Not more or unnecessary. There is a question that arises. Does nib.na exist or not exist? The burning of the aggregates, khandha, and defilements, kilesa, is real, but there is also no burning of them. The knowledge, n.a, which knows the cessation of khandha and kilesa is still exist, but the khandha and kilesa not exist. The existence of aggregates, khandha, is the truth of suffering, dukkha sakka, and the non-existence is the truth of cessation, nirodha sakka. Note, in these two talks Sayadaw compared humans as fire ghosts is a suitable analogy for nowadays human beings. Because they are more like fire ghosts than humans. Observing at the international level shows that extreme lobha, dosa, and moha burn incessantly. Palestinian and Israeli conflict is more than half a century old and it is becoming more violent and serious. They are burning with dosa fire, hatred. This can lead to hell beings, animals and ghosts. Ma.mogul.na met some fire ghosts at Vulture's Peak. This 21st century started with violence. It happened more and more continuously. If we observe the animal kingdom, animals are always searching for food and eat all the time non-stop except when they sleep, e.g., chicken, fish, cat, etc. If you feed them once, they always come and ask from you. Humans have other things to do. So they are a little better than animals, if not become worse than animals. Therefore, the Buddha said that the four ya-bh.mis are frequent homes of living beings. They are always burning with kilesa fire of lobha, dosa, moha, m.na, di, hi, etc. Without Dharma education even we don't know that we are fire ghosts and always looking for fire to burn ourselves. Dharma Talks by Mogok Sayadaw. The 27th of August 1961. Praying to become dogs again. Humans attached to the five khandhas with craving, conceit and the wrong view that prevents them from freeing themselves from the khandhas and achieving nibbana. Therefore, they get back the khandhas again and again. They make companions to the khandhas with tanha, mana and ditthi. Whenever khandhas exist and dukkha exists, you'll never be free from the danger of the oppressive and changing nature of the khandha. Mount Meru is said to be 84,000 yojana in size each in height, above the ocean, at depth, in the ocean, and width. The Buddha said at the time of doomsday it would disappear but not the khandhas. Until greed, tanha, anger, dosa, and delusion, moha, disappear, we will continue to encounter the dangers of aging, sickness and death. At the time of terrible stages in the mother's womb, it is like a disabled being. The Burmese word for it is dukkita. We can imagine and contemplate the sufferings inside the small, dark, dirty and smelly place until the baby comes out from the small hole painfully. And then the being grew up, became old and was hated by his children. At the time of sickness people spit behind him, because of the smell. After death, he was driven out of the village or town, i.e., the stinking, disgusting body was taken to a ditch field for burial or cremation. The Buddha taught us, jati pi dukkha equals birth is dukkha. But what you are praying for is to become a suffering or disabled being, dukkita. Even the Buddha gave a simile with a dog to the disgusting and disenchanting nature of the kanda. A dog was bound to a post on a leash. Where can a dog run to? If it wants to run and can run only by circling around the post. During the time of eating, sitting, sleeping, urinating and shitting all are near the post. It dies near the post as well. If you observe it nearby, it becomes uglier. Here, the kanda represents the post, craving, tanha, represents the leash, ditthi is the collar strap and worldling represents the dog. The stupidity of the worldlings are not much different from this dog. They go to the human realm, heavenly and Brahma realms are the same leash, worldlings die, the same collar strap and post. It is changing the post only. Making prayers, with merits and samatha, are not wanting to free from a worldling dog. If a Buddha not arisen, everyone is like the above dog. If discerning anicca of the kanda with contemplation, by knowing that this is not me, this is not mine and this is not myself, and the post is broken down, tanha, mana and ditthi will die. Dhamma Talks by Mogok Sayadaw. The 30th of August 1961. 3 Steps of Mindfulness. Today, I'll talk about the process of vipassana. People with wealth and good reputations rely on their work and jobs. In the same way, if you want to arrive at nibbana of no aging, no sickness and no death, the practice will be sent there. If you practice, you will surely arrive there. You also complete the rare things. Opening parenthesis. Here Dullabha Dhamma. These are the manifestation of a Buddha, a person, here Sayadaw, who teaches the Dhamma, a person who understands it, Sayadaw's disciples, a person who practices in accordance with the Dhamma, and a grateful and thankful person. If you practice with perseverance, you are sure to realize it. You have to make this determination. The Buddha also in the Anguttara Nikaya mentioned the same way with the process of the practice, which was not requesting by anyone. You'll realize by yourself the nibbana of no aging, sickness and death, the nibbana of all the cessation of dukkha and the 1500 kilesas extinction of nibbana. You have to dispel your doubt, remember what I taught and do the practice. There are 4 establishments of mindfulness. First, do the satipatthana. Second, satipatthana bhavana, and the third, the ending of satipatthana bhavana, from Samyutta Nikaya. For example, knowing every time a feeling, vedana, arises is satipatthana. From kaya, mind, citta, and dhamma, mental phenomena, are also known as the same. Knowing both of the arising and passing away, i.e., anicca, becomes satipatthana bhavana. The ending of them, anicca, or when the path knowledge arises, marks the ending of satipatthana bhavana. From the 5 path factors become the 8 path factors. This was mentioned in the Samyutta Nikaya. In the Anguttara Nikaya it starts from satipatthana bhavana. If you combine all the feelings, you will only have 3 kinds, and they don't arise together, only one of them does. The disciple of a noble one, i.e., Sattva Arya Savaka, contemplates it thinking, this is not feeling, only anicca, anakanupasi viharati, applied to rupa, citta, etc. You have to follow it seeing it as anicca and not as vedana. Contemplate using the perception of anicca, anicca sani. Note it as only anicca, i.e., contemplate, note, and know it as anicca. Don't mix these dharmas with permanent, nicca, happiness, sukha, self, atta, and beautiful, subha, dharmas. Contemplate them as anicca, perceive them as anicca and know them as anicca. I.e., don't note them as form, vedana, citta, etc. And then what happens with this contemplation? It's anicca that remains as anicca and will lead to the realization of only anicca. Because you make an effort with the contemplation of these 3 points, and knowledge will develop. Vipassana Panaya. You make this decision with Vipassana wisdom. Before you contemplate, perceive and know only and can't make the decision yet. You make the decision not heard from others. After making the decision, your knowledge, Nana, falls into anicca and not mix up with anything. Note this point carefully. The Buddha himself gave this instruction. If you ask me, how do I make my mind fall into anicca? Listen to me a little bit. You have to do it consistently, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, etc., always practicing. Let the knowledge continuously stay with it. If the knowledge persists, even if a telegram about your parent, one of them, death comes in, don't give it up. Don't give up because asava, here is ditthasava, is nearly extinct. If you ask why the Buddha and I tell you like this. At this place if kilesas come in will destroy it. Kilesas coming in, i.e., near the end of the practice, is quite a terrible thing. It can come in during the important time of the practice. At that time some special matters and reasons, causes, can arise. I remind you because it could happen. Don't mix it up with other matters and not let them come in. You have to remind this matter to other people also. When I am practicing, don't come to me. If I finish my sitting, you can tell me. Sayadaw gave the example of layman Pesa at the time of the Buddha. See the Kandaraka Sutta, Sutta number 51, Majjhima Nikaya. Even if you don't show the telegram which informs the death of a parent, you'll also know it later. Is it not better after the practice? The causes for concerning, responsibility, all are kilesas. Finishing the practice is only important. Don't be foolish at that time to harm yourself. Kilesas are coming to obstruct you. Except the zero world eon, i.e., Sunna Kappa, in which no Buddhas appear. Even Buddhas have appeared. Between each Buddha the bones of a living being could be piled up 1 yojana high, i.e., 1 yojana equals approximately 13 miles. At the time if you discern a lot of anicca, don't get mixed up with other kilesas. They come to obstruct the path and fruit. This is very important. I'll give you how to deal with it. Also don't be afraid if it comes in your practice. Take it as, ehi pasako, come and see, inviting the Dhamma to test and Nana to respond. Nana is staying with anicca, but after a long time, the mind wanting to get up arises, i.e., indolent mind. That is a mind that prevents the path mind from arising. It's a weak dosa mind. Contemplate it as anicca. Every time a kilesa comes in, you have to contemplate it as anicca. If you do not contemplate, the process continues. Therefore, it forbids the path and fruit. The arising mind of wanting to go to the toilet also must be contemplated. Contemplate pains and aches. If kilesas not coming in within the short period, you will realize nibbana. If Nana is sharp, you will realize it in a short period, and if not sharp, then at some time in this life. This is what the Buddha said. You do not have to be discouraged. You don't have to think about being a 2-rooted or 3-rooted person. A person does not have the seed of wisdom and a person has the seed of wisdom. If you can listen to the truth of Dhamma, Sakka Dhamma, and discern anicas, then you can consider yourself as having the seed of wisdom. You'll realize it. If you don't do the practice and you have to pay your debts, i.e., unwholesome kamich debts, with del-o, this is the Burmese word for the hell cauldron, wok, which we often seen in the hell scenes. Some Western scholars take the hells as fairy tales. If they can develop the light nimitta, they will see it. The Buddha mentioned the existence of hells very clearly in the Devadatta Sutta, the Divine Messenger's Discourse, Sutta number 130, Majjhima Nikaya. Some reflections on the 3 steps of mindful practice. In the Mahasi mindful system, it starts from Satipatthana, contemplate rupa, form, and it developing into later 2 steps one by one. The mind becomes refined by developing samadhi and discerning anicca refinedly. The objects of contemplation are becoming subtler from rupa, vedana, citta and dhamma. It covers the 4 satipatthana. In this Mogok Sayadaw talk he mentions starting from the 2nd step, which was also mentioned by the Buddha. But some Mahasi teachers reject this view. According to them, you can't discern anicca in the beginning, so have to contemplate only the arising phenomena, i.e., according to their system. How do we understand them? In fact, we can recognize ordinary impermanence, anicca, with ordinary mindfulness, sati. Only through direct practice can we know the results. In Sayadaw U Kandima's teaching of Bhavanga meditation, he also mentioned observing the changing nature, anicca, of arising minds to develop the 2nd Bhavanga samadhi. With this samadhi one can discern the refined anicca.